Hey, friends. I'm Niti, the pharmacist, here on the United States of America podcast. And I'm so excited because today I have Muki. He's here from the land down under, and he is really, I don't know, you're selling out all over the place as you go across the land there, the land and the soil of Terra Australis, and you're bringing people home like it seems like as fast as possible. How is the tour going, Muki?
First of all, g'day Nitty and g'day viewers. Okay, so our tour has ended. Well, we're getting other people now trying to get us back out again. But over 2.5 months, we covered just shy of 20,000 kilometres,
Wow.
and we did 36 presentations across this land. So all the way up to North Queensland, across the Atherton Tablelands, and as far south as Adelaide, and across to Perth, and then zigzagging back up the coast, and zigzagging all the way down. So yeah, 36 presentations. I'm a permaculture farmer, not a public speaker, so it was very nerve wracking, and it kept my anxiety levels high. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Perth. So my friend Dr. Anthony Chafee is out there in Perth. And
Yeah,
I wish I'd have known when you were going to be there because I would have encouraged him to come to see you. He needs,
yeah. It was
he needs,
a Perth was a big one. Like I spoke for 5 hours solid.
wow.
Yeah, there's some really knowledgeable people there, and
Yeah.
we had 11 sheriffs in the room as well. So they're just asking zillions of questions, and it's a really good energy, really good vibe. I think it's
This is a really big thing you guys are doing. So for those of you who are not following, what you guys are doing out there is buying books, buying Anna's book, her You Know Something Is Wrong When affidavit book, and you are presenting cases of them to your local policy enforcement officers. How is that being received, Mookie?
okay. So that hadn't started. We've actually, well, it has. We've purchased 230 of the books, and we've started distributing those to coordinators around the country. We've just had a GoFundMe and managed to raise $7,000 Aussie dollars. So we've got our state coordinator down in Northern New South Wales. He's organising and ordering $7,000 worth of books. So we've got it down to about $8 a book. We've with Anna's permission, because we did a big GoFundMe for the Americans and got her covered the cost for royalties, put it that way, and then some. So we're getting them printed over here, because really at the end of the day, we need to get the information out there, as long as it's not censored in any way, and it's exactly what Anna produced, and James, she's happy with that. So yeah, we've got about $7,000 worth of books coming. We haven't worked that out, how many that is. So once we get them, the plan is we're not going to have to be able to do every police station in the country, but we're certainly going to have enough to do all the major police stations throughout the major cities, and beyond. But basically, we want to do 3 information. We're calling it the PET tour, police education tour. So we want to get three of Judge Anna's affidavits. You know something is wrong when, to each police station. That with a copy of the Nut is Cracked, and definition of Australia, which is Accident Interpretation Act 1901, Section 2B. Australia includes Norfolk Island, Christmas Island, Cocos Island, and Keeling Island, including no further territory. Definition of state quite literally means here everything up to the shoreline, including no land. The proof of the reset, where oil plummeted to minus $38 a barrel on April 20, 2020, which something else pretty big happened at exactly the same time. Can't hear you. You're
Oh,
muted.
sorry. I wanted you to talk about the oil because this is something that you bring up, and I love your accent, but if you can talk that part a little bit slower so that everybody can understand what you're saying, because this is a point that you make that's very pivotal for a lot of people. And it's evidence that can be seen by those people that we're talking to in the street. And it would really help a lot of folks if you wouldn't mind kind of diving into that a little bit.
So, yeah, well, April 2020, oil plummeted to minus $38 a barrel. So when we know that, because I'm teaching it from an Aussie perspective, so when we know that Australia is an American-owned subsidiary of US Inc., I encourage people to start using their thinking caps and go, right, well, if oil plummets to minus $38 a barrel, now start thinking about what the American and the Aussie dollars are pinned to. Are they backed by gold? And then everyone's shaking their head no. Well, if they're not backed by gold, what are they backed by? What are they known as? The petrodollar.
But nobody knows it, Muki. No one on America knows it. And so this is so important. This is very, very big. This is important. And no one here is talking about it. And so continue. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm just excited. I just want you to know that you're speaking it from an Aussie perspective, but no one on the States knows it either. So this is very big.
Well, I think I spoke about it a little bit last time, because if you work out when the pandemic started, it started literally weeks before oil plummeting to minus $38 a barrel. Okay. And you guys happen to have one of the world's most successful oil barons in charge of your corporation at the time, So, as we were touching on it last time, why wasn't he talking about that? A successful oil baron doesn't want to discuss oil plummeting to minus $38 a barrel.
We're talking about Trump, friends. Trump, I'm giving them a clue. It's about Trump, and Muki was really teaching us a lot in the last episode. If you have missed it, please go back and find the last conversation that we had.
Or just quickly, I can add now, if you look up the etymological dictionary definition of the word Trump, make sure you're seated when you read that definition, because it's breathtaking. And I then encourage you to look up the translation from Latin to English, maga, M-A-G-A, witch, poisoner, magician. So, yeah.
I'm putting our notes up here from last time.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So it's all about the deceiver. Trump means the deceiver and all that sort of stuff, and to deceive the people, the masses, all that sort of stuff. So I'm paraphrasing. But yeah, anyway. So, if oil plummets to minus $38 a barrel, which it did, and there's a 33, very Masonic, a $33 trillion debt, how are they going to pay for it? So I just, through these presentations, we're explaining, all roads lead to Rome. Rome wasn't built in a day, and when in Rome, do what the Romans do. So, excuse me. Right, how are they going to pay for the debt? Okay, so from our perspective, it's the same, similar with you guys, but our perspective, I first explained the definition of person, which means corporation or thing that can be administered. And human, a hue of man, is literally defined as monster in Black's Law Dictionary. So if we live in a commonwealth corporation, that means every single person is entitled to their share of the commonwealth. So
Commonwealth, not the common debt.
Yes, correct. The commonwealth. So every boatload of iron ore, coal seam gas, uranium, whatever it is, gets mined out of the ground of Terra Australis when we send it overseas. There's a big fat tangible check comes back to the bean counters in Canberra. They total those checks and then divide it by 26 million Australian persons. Okay, because every person is entitled to their share of the commonwealth. We're just not educated about that. So these accounts, as Anna teaches, us, they're estate trusts or certificated by trust. But for ease of comprehension, we'll just stick with an estate trust that grows through the course of one's life. and depending on what contracts you had through the course of your life, they get pretty massive. So you imagine, how much money flows in and out of these trust accounts during the course of our life. So they mature at the age of 75. And after 75, you literally become a corporate liability because, you're not making any money for these guys. So Anna has told us, these estate trusts can be worth tens of billions of dollars quite easily at the age of maturity. So it's a crucifix. All roads lead to Rome. And it is a crucifix, and it's a ledger. It's a ledger. So every debt has a credit. And if you look at the older bills, I'm not sure if they're doing it so much nowadays. But the older bills that we used to get, or statements that we used to get in the mail, not a true bill, they actually had the crucifix in there, the ledger, and they deceive us to pay it when they're actually saying, no, it's already paid. We're deceiving you to pay again, the pagan cult. So anyway,
the pagan cult. This is important.
They're getting us to pay again because
please say that again.
Well, it is. They're taking the money out of their estate trusts. So let's say they want money for a mortgage or electricity bill. They take that money out of the estate trust. When you sign a mortgage, it's your
the autograph. Yeah, your autograph is worth a lot of money.
I do. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So these accounts are worth tens of billions of dollars. So you think I can quote off the top of my head. So out of an Australian law book, I'll say it slowly. The book is called Elements of Roman Law by R.W. Lee, written in 1944. Quote, rights of masters over slaves. Slavery implies complete disability, personal and proprietary. The master can exercise over the slave the power of life and death. And everything acquired by the slave is acquired for the master. A rule registration. A rule formally qualified if the slave is held in usufruct. Usufruct is Latin, and it's a usus fructus, to use the fruit, to use the poisonous fruit. It's the story of Adam and Eve. All roads lead to Rome. Usufruct is literally to use the poisonous fruit. And why is it poisonous? Because the moment you use the estate trust or the birth certificate to identify yourself, you are DED, dead on paper. You've been poisoned. You poisoned yourself. And that's why we have the story of Adam and Eve. It makes it very clear, do not eat the poisonous fruit. The Bible tells us 26 times, no less than 26 times, that God is not a respecter of persons. For a slice of bread, a person will transgress. James 2:9, for it is a sin to respect persons. Romans 2:11, for there is no respect of persons with God. One extract from the Bible makes it very clear that persons are so docile they can't discern their right hand from their left. Another says there's no respect for elderly persons. So then I ask the audience, I go, well, because there's usually somebody in the audience that has something to do with nursing homes or aged care facilities. There's always a few. And I go, right, well, how are the elderly being treated? And they're
getting drugged. They really, they dehydrate them. They don't give them water. They don't want to change their diapers, and so they don't let them have any water. And correct. They literally are abusing them. I have actually a really good friend and someone who's in our food church. She was a geriatric nurse for years, and she said, Niti, it's criminal what they're doing. And after 2020, it was in 2020 they were literally, people would come to visit their elderly parents or to get them out, and they wouldn't let them come. They wouldn't let them visit. Those older people had to watch their grandchildren out of a window, and they wouldn't allow them to hold them because they said that they were a threat. They told the children that they're a threat to the elderly grandparents.
It's a mind-body connection, and if you torture the mind, the body will suffer. It's as simple as that. And I think remembering that by law, a CEO's obligation is first and foremost to their shareholders. And they are legally, not lawfully, legally obliged to make more and more money each quarter.
Yeah.
Okay, so remembering that the estate trust only goes for 75 years, and after 75 years, the living men and women that give life to the estate trust, become a burden, a liability on the corporation. So they're pushed off the perch. When COVID first came out, was it hanging out in kindergartens and preschools, or was it hanging out in aged care facilities?
Yeah.
Nursing homes. We had it so bad here. We had men in battle fatigues. They're protecting our elderly in nursing homes. Come on.
It's insanity. It was insanity. And they didn't want anyone old enough to remember the truth to live. That was really the biggest thing.
Exactly. So, we've got a guy who's a oil baron running the most powerful corporation in the world, one of the most powerful corporations in the world. Very successful oil baron who neglects to point out that oil has plummeted to minus $38 a barrel on April 2020. But he, the mega man, Operation Warp Speed, he remembers to make sure everyone gets jabbed up, and then he only did it because they wanted it and all this sort of stuff. But everyone knows it was coercion through and through. People were coerced relentlessly. All over the world, not just here or there, everywhere. We've seen footage. In India, they're chasing them up on the rooftops. And all the. I point out too that the BRICS nations, which are, they're cashed up, they're ready to go, gold back and quite liquid. But everyone really needs to know that Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, they're all Unidroit corporations, just like America's a Unidroit corporation, just like Australia's a Unidroit corporation, UNIDROIT. So you look up Unidroit membership, and it's flabbergasting. It makes it very clear that they're still building Rome, and as they conquer another country, they join Unidroit, which is just basically Vatican bankers. So that it's all, the world is a stage, and we've been doing a lot of research quite lately. Because Anna's taught us about the Bar Association being a registered theatre and entertainment company. Well, we've been doing a lot of research, and and Shakespeare makes it all very clear. The world really is a stage that we're being played, by actors, and I think we're seeing more and more of it with Trump. I don't want to poo-poo anyone who's really having a go, but when they're being pernicious actors, I do like to not slag them, but at least point a light on them and go, well, check this out. And it's very interesting that an oil baron neglects to tell 350 million US citizens that oil's just plummeted to minus $38 a barrel when he was in charge. He neglected to mention that, oh, by the way, the US dollar's a petrodollar. He's first on the line to get everyone jabbed up, the whole lot. So it's just one ruse after the next. So it's all we're pointing out.
They kind of ruin entertainment for all of us, don't they?
Pardon me?
They ruin entertainment for all of us, don't they?
Absolutely.
All the way back to Shakespeare, friends. All the way back. Actually, it is from the very beginning of all the entertainment that they've been noticing us subliminally through all entertainment avenues. That's how they operate. They notice you.
Thrones.
Sorry?
Have you seen Game of Thrones?
Oh, yeah. Game of Thrones,
it's a documentary. Game of Thrones is a documentary. If you want to know what's going on in the world, that's exactly what's going on.
Game of Thrones, Vikings, Black Sails.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings. They're noticing us left, right, and center.
For those who want to pay attention, the Truman Show.
Or even the Marvel series, Marvel Universe. where they're talking about, like as the new earth is rising and, because the race is for controlling human consciousness, isn't it? This is a spiritual war. They're racing to control human consciousness right now.
Well, to retain control. They've had control for a long time. We haven't questioned anything.
Oh,
Over
right.
here, I'm sure you guys are, you're surrounded by a populace that are heavily fluoridating themselves.
Oh, yes.
With fluoridated toothpaste and all this sort of stuff. And
It's in our water. Muki, it's in our
70s,
water.
80s, 90s,
Yeah.
Every single commercial was Colgate.
Yes.
And as you say, in the water, we shower in it, our body absorbs it, we're drinking it. It's and our pineal glands are highly calcified, and we're surrounded by apathetic people enduring cognitive dissonance. They refuse to accept the pernicious behaviours of perfidious Albion.
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, okay, pernicious, a steadily growing evil. Perfidious Albion. Perfidious basically means deceptive and deceitful Britain.
Mm.
And they've been rapacious, aggressively greedy.
Yes.
So,
Muki, you guys have like a different perspective. Listen, you as a permaculturist, right? You said, I work with farmers too. Isn't that fascinating? I work with permaculture farmers, all, practicing regenerative agriculture here. So when you're working with your hands in the soil in that way, you have far more consciousness, far more like you're really immersed in reality more frequently. Yeah, grounding more frequently than most people. Most people don't comprehend that they have, like in town, in the cities, there's so much disruption. And now with all the EMFs and the 5G towers and the whatever, there's constant disruption. I mean, the way that they got away with the pandemic was they raised the frequency. They raised all of the EMFs so much. It was actually radiation poisoning. People aren't comprehending this. There's no virus. It's radiation poisoning. And they're turning the grid up and down, and they're, managing to raise the frequency of the EMFs, which actually causes radiation poisoning. What are the side effects of radiation poisoning? Loss of smell, loss of taste, pulmonary distress. All the signs are 100% radiation poisoning. What are the solutions? Increase your iodine, reduce your sugar, and you can control it dietarily. You can control it with magnets. You can control it by going outside and putting your feet barefoot on the ground and releasing the electrons and grounding with the earth. But like people who are in town, a lot of them now, they're pushing these smart cities here on America. Are they doing that on Australia
Absolutely.
as well?
So when there's a few things I'd love to discuss.
Yes.
So smart cities, for example, we went out back. We went right out back when we were up North Queensland, and we're in the middle of nowhere on dirt roads, and not another car or automobile to be seen for miles. And all of a sudden, we're seeing vehicle monitoring cameras in the middle of nowhere, in the bush. These are unpaved roads. These are dirt roads in the middle of nowhere. They've got vehicle monitoring cameras. So people think that they can go the back way to get in and out of towns and that sort of stuff. Think again. So that's one thing we noticed. And another thing I really would like to discuss is what we talked about in all 36 or most 36 presentations. And that is, we are electromagnetic beings. Our thoughts, stinking thinking will bring negative energy to you.
You're saying stinking thinking, right?
Stinking thinking.
Stinking thinking. I'm with you. Stinking thinking will give you negative vibrations.
It'll bring negativity because thoughts are electromagnetic sound vibration.
They're
And
things.
so it
Yeah,
works.
thoughts
So,
are things.
and they tell us, the system tells us over and over. How do they do that? Red, blue,
Mhm.
positive, negative, positive, negative.
Exactly.
What
We're
about that
electrical
boxing?
beings. Yeah.
The boxing ring.
Yeah. Red,
Red,
blue.
blue, red, blue. What about the political ring? Red, blue, red, blue. What about baby boys and baby girls? Baby boys in blue. Baby
Yeah.
girls in light red.
Yeah.
We've got football teams here in Queensland. They're the Reds, and New South Wales are the Blues. And it's one of the biggest games the country has. Go the Reds. No, go the Blues. They're shoving it in our faces. And there's a website called The Fix Is In.
Okay.
And if anyone prefers to watch sports and pay attention to what's going on, I urge you to check out the website called The Fix Is In, where they've proven the majority of these games are fixed anyway. They've taken it all the way to the high courts, where they turn around and said, well, okay, you've proven the game is fixed, but if you have a look on your ticket, it says for entertainment purposes only. They're actors. Even the whole stadium, it's all goes back to Rome. The whole lot goes back to
I've been
Rome.
saying
Given
that
bread and
forever.
circuses. Bread and circuses.
Yeah. I've been saying this for a long time. You guys, I put the link in the notes. We're getting, people are in the comments asking a question. Hey, friends, ask Muki questions if you want to, because I can put them up on the screen here if you're interested in speaking with Muki.
So
Eyes
just
eyes wide
quickly,
open. Eyes wide open is asking how many of us still have smart meters on our homes. Like if you have them on your homes, friends, you can get them taken off. I mean, these people will try to charge you money every month to do it over here. What do they do over there? If you want it, will they remove them for you?
yeah, we're having people getting them successfully removed.
Okay.
But if I could clarify about the red blue thing a little bit further, because we know
Sure.
where that red blue ends up. So I point out hospitals are hostile, foreign, military. Okay, so how are they hostile? Well, this is where the slavery ruse begins, and this is where they have a financial interest in it ending, especially when they're trading whilst insolvent. So as we know, all corporations have been trading whilst insolvent for over 4 years now. Who are they run by? A surgeon general.
General.
What do nurses run around all day doing? Following a doctor's orders. And we're sick of being patient while they practice on us. We need to get ourselves a discharge. It is military, it's hostile military. There's no two ways about it. And I go, well, how's it foreign? Okay, those hospitals in Australia, Acts Interpretation Act 1901, Section 2B, Australia includes Norfolk Island, Christmas Island, Cocos Island, and Keeling Island, includes no further territory. So are they in Australia or are they on Terra Australis? Gets everyone thinking, no, they're in Australia, right? Yeah, well, are we in Australia? Do you need me to give you the definition once again? And I talk about children, being property.
Yes.
And how parents wake up to the birth registration rules.
The pay rents. The pair rents that are paying the rent.
Rent property, and it's not your property. So parents work out that it's not a good idea to register the child. So different scenarios happen with different people, but in general, they might manage to get the child out of the hospital, but within a week or two, there's a knock on the door and a summons to court. You need to register that child. You're being summoned to court. Well, how does that work? I'll tell you right now. Quote, rights of masters over slaves. Slavery implies complete disability, personal and proprietary. The master can exercise over the slave the power of life and death. And everything acquired by the slave is acquired for the master. A rule formally qualified if the slave is held in usufruct.
Yes.
What if you don't know usufruct? Well, usufruct.
You know what I love? Hey, Muki, stop right here and go into explain to everybody, like, I try to tell them, like, the Bible is not a religious book, and
It's a
that
law
people,
book.
yeah, it's a law book, but people need to comprehend also the difference between, like, we get to choose. Like, I was talking with Anna the other day, remember, we were saying you have to choose. Do you want God to be your king, or do you want man to be your king? Do you want God to be your king, or do you want man to be your king? And the other thing that people need to think about when they do think that is, hey, King James rewrote the Bible for you to make man your king, not
Corporate
God.
Bible. And
It's
it's
the core.
godless too.
So there is a Geneva Bible, and there is a Bible that was the King James version. And that King James version is very different when you start getting into actually how the law is interpreted. That's written in the book. So I think that
They've
it's
lost,
important.
they've lost God out of the Bible and the King James. So it's actually godless.
It is.
So
The King James,
they
but
put
people don't know
Lord
that.
more. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I just want to point this thing out because, Muki, you do a beautiful job of bringing in the Bible by explaining the use of fruct, with the Adam and Eve story. But I think that if people have not read or know about the Geneva Bible versus the King James Bible version, the information is vastly different. Can you speak
Well,
about that?
it's worth noting that the King James version, they've glossed the Lord out of the Bible, meaning Lord is in all caps. So
Mm,
all caps is dog Latin. Dog Latin is defined as a bastardized Latin, similar to English,
mhm.
used on the English grammatical scale to deceive illiterate persons. So,
Bastardized. The
yeah,
king and Rome says all bastards are slaves of Rome.
there you go. So you've got it's a corporate Bible, it's godless, and basically what they're saying is they don't want you to worship the Lord, they want you to worship the House of Lords,
Mm.
which is a massive difference. Okay, because the House of Lords are defining us as their peasants and themselves as our masters. So it's very important that we start thinking about this because we've as Anna, I encourage everyone to get on Anna's website and just type into the search engine two gods in the Bible. Because we've been deceived, and if you take
Mhm.
the and out of Cain and Abel, what do you have left? Cain Abel. Eat my body, drink my blood. Cain Abel. It's all there for eyes to see and ears to hear, and it's all occulted. So a
Can
lot
I
of this
bring
stuff is
can I bring
very
this
good.
other can I bring this up too, because this is related. So if we're going into the Bible, I apologize I can't make this bigger, friends. So hopefully you guys can enlarge this, but I'll also post it on our Telegram channel so people can really see it. But this is 1666, and it is the threefold evil deception. It's talking about the New World Order and the UN. Um, it's basically is don't you think that Noah's Ark is what's going on? I asked Muki this today, you guys. I sent him this picture, and I said, "Hey, Muki, um, don't you think that the Noah's Ark story is what's going on right now? Because we have the water jurisdiction flooding over on the land jurisdiction, and they've taken out the land jurisdiction around the world. So we are amidst the great flood right now. What do you think?"
Without a doubt, the pirates, because they legally consider roads as inland waterways. That's why they tend to use bluestone on the roads, because it resembles water.
You have bluestones on the road over there?
Bluestone, yeah, it's all bluestone they use.
Really? We don't have that. I've never seen it.
Yeah, I'll take a
Wow.
photo. And
Yeah, I would like to see that. But you, friends, this says City of London, One World Universal Law, the Vatican, and then the Federal Reserve. And it's talking about the one world government, the New World Order. Check our all our show notes, you guys, have my link tree in there, and in the link tree, it'll have the Telegram channel, and I'll share this. I apologize, I couldn't make this like better for you to see, but I just wanted to point it out. And you actually, Muki, referenced, which article was it that you were referencing with that?
With what?
With that image? I'll refresh your memory here in a second.
Yeah, please do. I got my,
I didn't mean to make you lose your train of thought.
I was just basically, I went into Anna's articles about Zionism.
Zionism, that's what you were talking about. Yeah.
Because if you read the protocols of the learned elders of Zion, it'd be mind blowing. Actually, it's quite sickening.
We've been swindled. You shared her. We've been swindled.
Yeah, I urge everyone to look that up on Anna's website. She's talking about the Zionists and all the other villains that are enslaved or trying to enslave us, trying to enslave the world, further enslave, I should say, because we have been enslaved for a long time. And why does God not respect persons? Because nobody should respect persons. A person's a piece of paper. So if you're identifying yourself as a piece of paper or a trust account, well, why should anyone have any respect for you? Because who respects a piece of paper? You respect a living being, a living soul. You can't love a piece of paper. It's an inanimate object. So that's where we're at. We can't. It makes sense. The Bible is. I missed that.
Oh, sorry. It makes sense. The Bible is an allegory.
Allegory, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, Teresa, beware of anything starting with smart city, smart meters, etc. Yeah. That's why I use a dumb phone. How do you pay for bankruptcy? Well, that's a great question. Darren. How do you pay for a bankruptcy? Well, let's talk about that. So back to the estate trust. Okay, so there's a $33 trillion debt. Where's the credit come from? Okay, so let me put it another way. If a birth certificate is an estate trust worth tens of billions of dollars, and the bankrupt corporation needs to cash it in, what do you think they've got to put next to it?
The credit.
A death certificate, perhaps?
Oh, you popped out. You popped out. Say it again. Sorry.
If a birth certificate is an estate trust owned by a bankrupt corporation, what do you think they need to put next to it to collapse that trust and cash it in?
Oh, the death certificate.
Death certificate. Yeah. So this is why COVID was hanging around in nursing homes and aged care facilities, because they are the juiciest, fattest trust. There's no juicy, fat trusts in kindergartens and preschools. The juicy ones are all in the nursing homes. And again, after 75, you become a commercial corporate liability on the corporation, because now there's no money coming from that estate trust in their direction. It's going out until they cash it in. So this is where we're at. We're in the middle of a genocide, and we've got an oil baron. He doesn't want to talk about that. He doesn't want to talk about the fact that oil plummeted minus $38 a barrel. And he neglected to mention that to the people he's ruling, because that's a ruler, and that's what a ruler does. That's not a leader. That's a ruler. Roman emperor type stuff.
And no one knows it because he's in the background. They don't know that he is actually still holding the football.
It's well, he's an actor. And
the whole thing is, the show is really incredible, isn't it?
There's a couple of videos out there casting. There's I've forgotten it. He mentions it a lot. Casting, something casting, but it's basically acting terms. He uses acting terms all the time, but people don't know these terms. Yeah. So if you're in the know, you know what he's talking about. But it's all casting. It's all a show. Just watch the Harry Truman show. And how does Harry Truman escape? He's got to get in a boat and row out to sea.
I know, it's every time that I watch anything anymore, You know, I was talking about the Marvel films, right? Like if you watch any of these things, or like with Star Trek or whatever, they're all on ships. And the best is it's fascinating that they always have a bunch of ships crashed in the desert on the land, like dry docked on the land. Spaceships, airships, water ships, but they have them like randomly, like, and if you watch the movies, then in all of these scenarios, there's always a scene with like a giant, looks like an ark in a desert somewhere. Isn't that fascinating?
And planes as well.
Yeah.
Planes have cockpits, they have galleys, port and starboard.
Yeah.
How else can they access the trust funds? Well, they can access. Darren's asking some good questions, Darren. Thank you very much, mate. They can access the estate trust by sending us to jail. So that's why the prisons are overflowing. And not only that, they're stinging the estate trust for $9,000 a day for every day they have a prisoner in there. And they're all, no, not all of them, but a lot of these prisoners are in there for victimless crimes. So in other
Victimless
words,
crimes.
breaking rules and regulations for the private corporation.
Mm-hmm.
And they smashing, the corporation is smashing that account at $9,000 a day. So they have no incentive to get the prisoners out. And this is why you have TV shows like Sheriff O'Pile, Scotty, I can keep a prisoner for $1 a day. And he's got tents and they're sleeping in triple bunks and all the rest of it on the outside because he's running a warehouse.
Right.
And so if he can keep them for $1 a day, that means he's making $8,999 profit. Pure cream.
Cream. Muki. So they're doing 9,000 on Australia. On America, they do $6,000 a day. And you know what? They start in school. So all the children that are in the public school, which is basically the prison for children, right?
Yeah.
The prison for children. So it's mandatory that you go to public school. Otherwise, they come to your house,
because
looking.
you're a user fuck, and that's their property. They're looking for their property.
Yeah.
And they don't get paid. They don't get paid until that bum is in that seat.
Yes.
When that bum's not in that seat, there's no money coming in, no revenue. That's why they're financially.
Attendance is mandatory.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anna has always said there's $9,000 a day.
Oh, ours is on America at 6,000.
I'll have to double check that. But yeah, it's a lot of money.
It's 6,000, 9,000, whatever. Hello.
For a day.
Per day, per child. Then you're free, right? You're free. Are you free? I don't know if you're free. Because I think that, first you go to preschool, then you go to regular school. Then from there, you have to go to university or military. Either way, they making $6,000 a day. Either way. And then from there, you either go to prison or you're paying them taxes because you're in the job, right? So,
well, and this is what always bugged me as a child, to sing the corporate jingle, because it is a corporate jingle, and I was forced to go to school against my will, or a threat you'll be taken by the state. So you're forced to go to school, and then they got me standing there singing the corporate jingles like Big Mac, Filet Fish, quarter pound of French fries, Coca-Cola, thick shape, and feast under the apple pie.
Yeah.
But they didn't get us to sing that one. Australians, all that ask to do is for we are young and free. Hang on, you're forcing me against my will to come here and sing a song to say that I'm young and free with a private corporation. I just knew it was wrong, right? As from early childhood, I knew it was wrong. Whatever's going on is wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
So I've never had a feeling of freedom with the corporate service providers masquerading as government.
Yeah. Everybody in the audience is like, everything is in plain view. Simpsons tell the story. All the shows tell the story. This is why the people have created our banks, the gold GFG for status correction with the people only. Yeah. Look, everybody's excited to see you, Muki. They're all just with you and sharing all the truths. Credit comes from we the people.
It certainly does. It certainly does. So it's
Yeah.
a matter of us regaining our political status. And how do we do that? We reconvey to land and soil. Like you guys have got corporate assemblies over there. They're building, and they're doing the same here too. And one thing we've noticed that the people that are creating the corporate assemblies, they're attacking us pretty heavily as we're traveling around the country.
Mm.
We're getting
Tell us
attacked and offended.
how are they doing that, Muki? What do you mean?
Like we'd post wherever we're going, and people would repost that in their various groups. And some of those groups were being particularly nasty. It's like, well, one in particular had their logo is unity and community, and we didn't see much unity. But anyway, we don't use names. We don't slag them. We just send them love and recognise that a lot of these groups are plagiarising our work, which is the highest form of flattery, really.
Yes.
So
they're terrified, Muki. I mean, look, their entire their operation is falling apart. The corporatocracy is collapsing, friends. And
I prefer to call it a Kakistocracy.
The Kakistocracy. Yeah, you and I were talking about this last time. And I refer to them as the corporatocracy here because our government here is, or our de facto government is the corporatocracy here. Everything's incorporated. They all have Duns and Bradstreet numbers and things like that. I'm looking for your definition for the Kakistocracy.
Kakistocracy, very fitting, I believe.
Yeah, Kakistocracy, the noun government. Now, it's a government by the least suitable or competent citizens of a state. But the only reason this is dangerous for us over here is because actually they're just it is the corporatocracy here, Muki, and everything is so compartmentalized in the corporations that the people that are doing the work can't know. The right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. And so, it's still immoral. It's still immoral because, they're still just following. When you're saying this, it is appropriate in the sense that they are not, like it says, the danger is that this will reduce us to Kakistocracy, a state or society governed by its
least suitable citizens.
So, but the thing is, I think I wrote it right over here. We were going through. Here we go. The unscrupulous, most unscrupulous. But I think that, we try to have grace. We have to have a little, like even Anna is offering Trump, right now. Amnesty. She's offering amnesty because at the core of it, he actually doesn't know. He knows not what he does. He knows not what he says. I mean, he might.
Remember, he's an oil baron.
Okay, yeah.
Oil climbing more than $38 a barrel.
Yeah, I'm giving him too much credit, but yeah, definitely I'm giving him too much credit. She's still offering him amnesty. But like even in here, I'm saying that, the thing is that order following is immoral. People are just following orders, which is what a lot of our corporatocracy, like our government workers, are doing. They're following orders. But it's immoral because when you are following orders, or when we know better but ignore the truth or walk the line because they don't want to take a side, you have this entire society, Muki, where they are afraid to stand for anything, right? So that's a lie. If you're walking the line, then you're lying to yourself, if nothing else, right? So
think about the getaway driver in a bank robbery. Think about the getaway driver. What's a getaway driver's job? His job is to stay outside and keep the engine warm. That's all you have to do. Keep the engine warm and drive the men home after work. Don't ask what's in the duffel bag or the duffel bags. All your job is to keep the engine warm, drive the men home after work, and don't ask what's in the duffel bags. Oh, okay. So all of a sudden they get pulled up by the police, and the old getaway driver, he says, "Oh, Thank God I wasn't in the bank. I didn't rob the bank. I had nothing to do with it. I was just doing my job. Oh, and the police go, well, what was that then? Oh, my job was to keep the engine warm, drive the men home after work, and not ask what's in the duffel bags. Oh, sorry to bother you, sir. You have a nice day. Head on home and drive safely now. It doesn't happen.
No.
It doesn't happen. So, but hang on a minute. They weren't in the bank. They didn't see what happened in the bank. They don't know what's in the duffel bags. They don't know what the guys did in the car. You know? Well, the thing is, the getaway driver isn't aiding and abetting capital crimes. So the getaway driver will be out in a few short years. But if you're aiding and abetting capital crimes and you're going to use the legal defense just doing the job, I wish you all the best of luck with that. You know, they've got to be showing redemption. They must be showing redemption. And it's not my will or anything, you know, I'm trying to project that. It's just pure history. We've seen it World War I, World War II. Oh, just do my job. Oh, okay. The old just do my job legal defense. Okay, so nobody told you or warned you, because all these guys are getting affidavits coming out their ears and they're ignoring them. So again, where in your job description does it say you can commit inland piracy, you can ignore affidavits, you can commit personage, barratry, press ganging?
Or murder. How about genocide? What about genocide? What about injecting poison into the sacred bloodstream of people?
Remembering that that's a hostile foreign military as well. So these are mercenary forces. And so if you've got
the doctor has more power than the military actual guy.
Actually,
the doctor.
It's known as the Babylon infant tree.
Babylon.
Babylon infantry.
Babylon
infant tree. The Babylon infantry, and it all starts with the birth certificate and ends with the birth certificate. And if you're defining yourself as a Mister, you're the lowest rank in the Babylon infantry. It's a title ranking system, and doctors right at the top. You are literally a member. We're all members until we reconvene. We're all members of the Babylon infantry. And Bible makes it very clear there's no respect for members of the Babylon infantry.
It goes back to this morality, friends. You know, like morality is not relative. Humanity is enslaved, or, you know, actually the people are enslaved as a side effect of the immoral behavior. Allowing others to rule over us is a choice. And when you give away your power, you are behaving immorally. You stop giving away your power. You have the power. You have to choose. They solicit you. They come and solicit you. They solicit you when they say, hey, we're going to put smart meters everywhere. And then no one says anything. When they say, hey, we're going to put smart meters everywhere, everyone should be writing into the power company going, no, you're not. No, you're not. We don't want it. But people just... they're watching the commercial on television, the notice that they're being given, and they're just like, oh, you know, do you have popcorn? You got any popcorn over there, Muki? You know, eating the popcorn, eating the ice cream. Oh, look, they're going to do the smart meters, Muki. Look what they're going to do. You want some wine? Here, have some wine.
Well, again, like we're being poisoned. So all the alcohol's highly poisonous, and we're looking at all the supermarkets.
Yeah.
And they're all food-like substances. You know, you cannot walk into any supermarket and come out with a trolley, not even half a trolley of good, organic, healthy produce. You can't do it. It's either toxic glyphosate, it's GMO, it's poison.
It's CAFO meat.
The toxic oils, the meat's jabbed up. Everything's, it's toxic. So all the major supermarkets, they are literally, because we've got, I won't start naming names, but we all have similar deal, and they're all toxic.
Right.
It's all toxic. I challenge anyone to walk into any one of these grocery stores and even find, one or two items that are really healthy. You can't. They're all food-like substances, and they, as we know, they're putting bugs and things and all the rest of it in the food. But it's even apart from that, it's healthier to probably eat a bug than what it is the other crap that they're putting in the food by design, because the sicker you get, there's no money in the hospital industry with healthy people.
Right.
You know?
And who started that? Oh, I think it was that snake oil salesman, Rockefeller, and his friend Carnegie. And so, and then in 1920, you guys, they filed the Flexner Report, which centralized all the systems. And isn't that why you're doing permaculture, Muki? I mean, isn't that why you're doing permaculture?
Yes, that's exactly why we're doing permaculture and community living. There are several common law groups doing good work. However, we on Terra Australis are steering clear of common law.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, that's a good question. Why? Well, the Americans have actually they won the right. They won the right to what they call public common law. So public common law is the law, common law of the land and soil without the bar association, because that's who they had the kinetic battle with, the Brits.
Yep.
So the thing is, with us here on Terra Australis, knowing that Australia's always been a corporation, all their constitutions, it's all been fraud. And on page 36 of our 1901 constitution makes it very clear that Australia is a penal colony, and it's never been that has never been questioned. So it's always been a penal colony, and it's always been defined offshore. We can find absolutely no geographical definition of Terra Australis being Australian. So how did the Brits get to implement common law with a country that is already occupied? Well, we go back to the House of Lords in 1750, and in the House of Lords in 1750 they created what they call sui generis common law, SUIGENERIS, sui generis common law. Sui generis is Latin meaning unique, and the reason why they needed unique common law that was fabricated in the House of Lords in 1750 is because that was just before they sent tall ships all around the world. Excuse me, to India, South Africa, Canada, Terra Australis, New Zealand, all over the place, setting up the British Empire. And they knew full well that all the countries that they're heading for were already occupied. So the indigenous folk here, they were already had their own natural law. So they had to deceive them. And over the last 240 odd years, they've been contracting them into the corporate system and losing their rights on their own land and soil through deception, because it's all usufruct. The moment they use the fruit, it's the most, if I can repeat anything over and over again, that's highly worthy, it's straight out of the Aussie law book. Rights of masters over slaves. Slavery implies complete disability, personal and proprietary. The master can exercise over the slave the power of life and death. Everything acquired by the slave is acquired for the master, a rule formally qualified if the slave is held in usufruct. If you're using the fruit of the birth certificate to identify yourself, you're poisoned. You've been poisoned. You are dead on paper.
And everybody's busy applying that to apples over here, I mean, it's not about the apples, friends.
Well, have a look at the Steve Jobs.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
What's his logo?
The apple.
Hang on. More importantly,
the bitten apple.
It's the bitten apple. It's usufruct. If you don't know usufruct, usufruct. Seriously, guys.
Look at apple.
It's the most powerful word in law, and they're rubbing our snouts in it en masse. They are rubbing our snouts in it. It's all about the birth certificate fraud.
Yeah.
So this sui generis common law recognizes sui juris persons. So a sui juris person is literally a free person, but there's no such thing, because a person's still a corporation.
Right.
So when we came here,
it's an oxymoron.
It's an oxymoron. we came here as subjects, which is defined as a thing. A res, R-E-S in Latin, means thing, further defined as resident. Look it up in Merriam-Webster Dictionary, R-E-S, just look it up. And you'll scroll down, you'll see it's further defined as resident. Hue of man is most certainly not man. It's a monster in law, a sea monster from the Holy See, SWE. Person, corporation, resident, thing, a natural person is a natural human, natural monster. It's all deception. And that's why it's known as perfidious Albion, because it's all sleight of hand, it's all deception, and it's all painted.
It's magic.
It's all magical. And go back to MAGA, Make America Great Again. Just MAGA, the acronym, translated from Latin to English, literally means witch, sorcerer, poisoner. Quote. No, just use three fingers for a quote. Let's go to. So yeah, there's some dodgy stuff, and it's all occulted. It's all heavily occulted.
Hidden, friends. For those of you who are thinking that he's saying something crazy, he's not. Hidden. Occult in Latin means hidden.
It's all hidden.
Yeah, this isn't about witchcraft.
Albert Pike, the infamous Freemason Albert Pike, made it very clear that we will provide all the heroes. It's an infamous quote, and the reality is we need to put the underpants on the outside ourselves and save ourselves. Nobody's going to come and save us. No, if you've got your bum in a chair, trusting the plan and waiting for a hero to jump through your window, I'm here to tell you that's not going to happen.
You know, Muki, we try to say we don't call 911 over here, okay? We don't call 911. Well, yeah. I think that you've really, we've covered so much in this last hour, Muki, and you, every time I speak with you, it is just a joy. I really appreciate you so much. And I feel like we've given everyone a lot to think about and a lot to ponder. I love, you know, just jumping on here with you at the last minute. We always kind of just figure it out for that week. Thank you so much always for making time to talk with me. And I'm really excited to hear how it's going to go with the project that you guys have about distributing the books to all the policy officers. Before
just touch on that quickly.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, like, before we sign off, you said that you have a lot of sheriffs coming to your talks as well.
Oh, no. Well, that was one talk in Western Australia, but the concept is that we will be hiring buses in all the major cities, and we'll have 24 state nationals on those buses, and three of Anna's affidavits. You know something is wrong when, plus a copy of the nut is cracked. The thick red line is a document written by police for police to talk about the fraud. Definition of Australia, definition of state, the proof of the oil plummeting to minus $38 a barrel on April 2020, and the definition of reset under Scots law. So the legal definition of reset, Webster Dictionary 1828, literally means to harbour outlaws and criminals. So here's the proof of your bankruptcy. Here's the proof they're resetting. You know, Charles hasn't. He made it very clear that they want to reset, you know, so it's all on the table, and 3 of those will be delivered, all autographed by everyone on the bus. So we're trying to get 24 state nationals on each bus, and they'll be peaceably delivered with a wet hired coach. They all drive around, they all get off the bus, video the education being delivered, 3 packs, and then jump back on the bus, you know, with all smiles and happy. We're not here to cause any harm or any trouble or any belligerent. Jump back on the bus and go to the next police station.
Wow.
So we had that plan just for the Sunshine Coast where I live, and people got that excited. All the coordinators got that excited and said, right, this has got to be countrywide. So yeah, the people have put their money in their hand in their pocket, and we've got $7,000 to work with. So that'll get every major city done across the country.
That's fantastic. I mean, you know, hats off to all of you out there down under, and we are rooting for you guys. We're watching, and we really are inspired, you know, by what's going on there. I know Anna has told us here on America many, many times that, you know, people around the world are watching and like really cheering for us to win. And we're trying to tell our states, you know, like keep keep going. The indoctrination on America, I think, I feel like it was way more powerful than what it was outside of the States, because when I would travel outside of America, then I used to experience a completely different situation. And whenever we would come, the political correctness here, Muki, was so strong. And I felt like it was nowhere but here. And for all of you out there who may not know, political correctness is where they have tried to normalize lying. And so you have Americans being politically correct all the time, which means they just lie every day. And when we're bringing our assemblies together, we have to really, really work hard to break ourselves out of these habits. And, that's why you hear Anna saying a lot of times, can we just practice not telling a lie? Can we just not lie? And it's because they've made it commonplace, and they've kind of mixed. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's not if we win, we've already won.
Love always wins.
Love always wins. It's as they say in GFG, it's loveonomics. It is all about love. And there's a Japanese scientist, just quickly before we go.
Yeah.
And I was talking about thoughts being electromagnetic vibration, and how powerful a thought can be to your body, and what damage it can do to your body, and what healing modalities for your body it can have. But if you a Japanese scientist made it very clear, he froze droplets of water and wrote hate all over the container, and said hate, 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 and put it in the freezer. And he did this one with love, and wrote love all over the container, and said, I love you, I'm very grateful, I wouldn't be alive without you. Froze that, pulled them both out. The hate water, all the molecules were smashed to smithereens. The love water were purely formed crystals like snowdrops.
Yeah, I've seen this.
We've already won. It's just a matter of how long it takes for enough to remember, stand, and say no. Happy day, Darren. I like that, Darren fella.
That's right.
He had some good questions. He had some great questions.
Hey, everybody is just wanting to root you guys on. They're cheering for you. And we really are. Look at this. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy what they've done. Just blows my mind, So lots of love for you guys.
Emoto. So Joe's onto it. So that, if you look up on YouTube, Emoto, he's the guy that froze the water, the love water and the hate water. So don't take my word for it. Get on YouTube and check it out, because that's mind-blowing. And just think about your body being made up of at least 70% water.
Yes.
So if you're having crappy thoughts, thinking, you are going to project you're just going to bring sickness to yourself. Fear is a low vibrational energy.
Yes.
Masaru Emoto. But yes, Joe's all over it. Yes, that's definitely the guy. Thank you, Joe. Much appreciated, brother. So, or it could be Joanne. So, or sister.
We're presuming it's a guy or a girl, not anything else. Gonna be a man or a woman. That's what we know.
Yeah, that's all we know. Or as we say, blokes and Sheilas over here.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. I hope to have Muki back. So Muki, let me know, like when are you going on the next tour? What's going on again with the tour? You're going to do
our next tour is be traveling around on a wet hired coach and touring around the Sunshine Coast and inland and the hinterlands, delivering these education packs.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, I think that we've been working really hard to wake the police up, and they're having a lot of problem with retention. Basta is a phrase in Spanish roughly approximate to enough is enough. He's had enough. Everyone's had enough.
Yeah.
So that'll be the next our big tour will be the countrywide, getting all the buses ready and
nice.
Educating our police, because we don't want to see them go through what happened in World War I, World War II, because the wrong people were hung. Wrong people were hung.
Let's just tell them, Muki. Let's tell them our law of the land is pretty draconian. So you don't get to be ignorant of the law. You have to be responsible, and you must, I mean, you're responsible for knowing the law.
And so
And
signs of redemption.
hey, like we always say, the Geneva Bible is the law book. We were given 10 commandments. And then Anna says, look, God said, okay, Jesus said, you can't do even the 10. So can you do 2? Can you do 2? Like, do unto others, as you would want others to do unto you, and do no harm. Can you just do the 2? Just do the 2. And outside of that, when you break our law, then, like, you don't get to just go drinking and driving and kill somebody and act like it doesn't matter, because you will be hung. Or if you rape a child, we're not going to have a discussion about it. This is not going to be a discussion. So you must be responsible. Like, we have to be responsible. We have to operate in honor and in love. Okay? So
Happy days.
until next time, everybody, we are going to be cheering for them. I can't wait to see pictures and videos and everything with this bus tour. That's super exciting. I'm going to play this back so that I can write down what you said, because I think it's something really cool that we should try to do here as well. And so thank you for setting a great example for us, and we appreciate you so much, and always appreciate your education.
Cool. Good to speak to you, mate.